This is the Toyota Highlander, 4th gen spec, freshly upgraded and rolling hot off the line. No fluff, no filler, just a machine packed with smart systems, hybrid efficiency, and rugged utility. We're tearing it down to the bolts, exposing the data, and testing the tech. So, lock in, power up, and let's decode this beast's latest build. Version 4.0, full commit, no half measures. For architects managing multi-unit payloads, sidestepping the minivan event horizon, the Highlander's your operational platform. It's forged with a high-strength steel unibody, 70-tie tensile rating, configurable for 8 passengers, and offers a hybrid powertrain for energy-conscious cycles. Exterior deltas are subtle, but Toyota's deployed a new optical signature, Cypress Green. A 532nm wavelength coating with 0.85 reflectivity, boosting visibility by 13% over last-gen blacks, per luminance tests. Does it pass your visual checksum? Transmit your verdict below. Access the Highlander's interior framework and you're interfacing with a streamlined habitat. 80% of touch points clad in 2mm TPO soft touch cladding with 15.2 liters of distributed storage bays. Door geometry yields a 47-inch aperture, cutting entry-exit latency to 1.7 seconds. Front seats deploy 12-axis servo adjustments, mapping to a 98th percentile skeletal profile, while the second row clocks 42.5 inches of legroom and 39 inches of headroom, viable for 6'5" operators. 5 USB-C ports channel 3.1 amps each, and our test rig runs a bench array, though higher trims unlock captain's chairs, reducing third-row access friction by 38% under dual child seat loads. Now, the third-row module, a real-time stress sim. The entry actuator sits 53 inches high, a 20% reach penalty for sub-4-foot users, with manual slide servos requiring a 14-degree tilt sync. I'm running the scenario, standby for telemetry. Output, my 6'3" frame registers 95% knee flexion and a 1.8-inch headliner collision. Verdict, this zone's coded for sub-5-foot entities, juvenile units, or compact bots only. No USB nodes detected either. Third-row power grid's offline, so cache your reserves. Extraction logs a 10-second egress cycle, akin to a factory reset under duress. Cargo capacity initializes at 16 cubic feet, 21% below the Honda Pilot's 18.5 and 48% shy of the Chevy Traverse's 23.1. Fold the third row via dual pivot joints and you're at 48.4 cubic feet. Collapse the second with a 60-40 split and it maxes at 84.3, sufficient for a 1,200-pound payload per SAE J1100. Folding's a glitch though. Manual latches with 8 kilograms of resistance and a 6-degree alignment quirk can jam the sequence. Automation rating, 3.5 flash 10. My coolant's flatlining, where's the recharge? Pivot to the control nexus, where Toyota's flashed a new firmware stack, Multimedia OS 4.2, on a 12.3-inch IPS display, 424 ppi, 1201 contrast ratio. An optional 12-inch TFT gauge cluster streams 60 Hz telemetry, and wireless charging, now MagSafe compatible, outputs 15 watts from a 0.2-inch dash shelf, up 50% from the prior 10-watt bin. The rear-view cam pipes a 4K 360-degree composite, slashing parking deviation by 65% in 10-foot slots, per ultrasonic sensor logs. Bug report, the volume pots offset 17 inches from driver centerline, passenger override probability spikes 40%. HVAC retains analog I/O, 7 rotary pots, 5 tactile switches, 0 latency, full redundancy. While I debug that audio anomaly, let's crack the propulsion core. The V6 has been EOL'd for a 2.4-liter inline-4 turbo, pumping 265 horsepower at 6,000 RPM, down 30 horsepower, but torque surges to 310 pound-feet at 1,700 RPM, a 47 pound-feet gain. It's mated to an 8-speed planetary auto, towing 5,000 pounds with a 3.331 final drive. Emissions drop 15 mi CO2 per EPA dyno runs. The hybrid swaps in a 2.5-liter Atkinson mill plus twin E-motors, system net, 243 horsepower, backed by a 1.9 kWh NIMH pack at 288 volts, 94% charge efficiency. Range extends to 620 miles on a 17.8-gallon tank, 18% beyond the gas rig's 525. Field test. The Turbo 4 hits 0 to 60 in 7.1 seconds, 0.4 off the V6's pace, but torque onset at 1,650 RPM nulls lag, with shifts peaking at 0.2-second intervals. Gas mileage averages 24.8 mpg combined. ADLUD trims dip to 23.7, a 4.4% hit. Hybrid clocks 36.2 mpg with a 5% thermal efficiency edge over rivals like the Kia Telluride's 33 mpg. Chassis metrics: 37.2 foot turn radius, 12% tighter than the Traverse's 39, and 60 aero braking logs 120 feet with 1.1 Gs of decel. Cabin acoustics hit 67 dB at 70 mph, and steering, 2.9 turns lock-to-lock, offers a 14% stiffer rack in sport mode, with Eco dialing back throttle response by 20%. Automation suite: Toyota Safety Sense 2.5 Plus, a 77 GHz radar sweeps 220 feet forward, paired with a 12 megapixel monocular cam, yielding a 97% pedestrian hit rate, per NHTSA. Adaptive cruise tracks at 0.4-second intervals, with a 2.5 Gs emergency brake pulse. Lane tracing assist process 72 FPS, applying 0.25 Gs of yaw correction. Smooth, but a 9 dB alert triggers at 4-degree deviations. Blind spot sonar, 42 kHz, 15-foot range, cuts occlusion by 90% despite a 2.3-inch C-pillar blind zone. Full stacks online across all trims but base. Deployment cost: base unit boots at $36,020 plus $425 shipping. 18-inch, 48-pound alloys, LED lamps with 55,000 hour MTBF, and a 2.4 GHz Cortex A53 infotainment core. Upper trim stacked 20-inch rims, 52 pounds, a 1600-watt seat heating grid, and a 1,250-watt JBL array. 11 drivers, 93 dB SPL. XSE, 43,035, tunes a 16% stiffer damper rate and 2.7-inch exhaust tips. Hybrid baseline, $40,820. Scrape kbb.com for live pricing, hyperlinked above. The 3-row sector's a dense array: Pilot's 284 HP, Traverse's 310 HP and 98.2 cubic feet, CX-90's 340 HP hybrid, Explorer's 3.0 L 400 HP option, all vying for bandwidth. Highlander's Edge, a 5-year TCO 9% below segment mean, $48,200 versus $52,900 per Edmunds, and a 93.4% uptime rating from Consumer Reports. The Grand Highlander's 2025 drop adds a 15-inch third-row legroom buffer. Spec TBC. The Highlander 4.0 fuses smart automation, radar-driven safety, hybrid optimization, torque-rich kinetics into a civilian-grade shell. My power cells at 2 cent, recharge imminent. What's your diagnostic? Patch it in below.